Kanaga. Now, I want to answer the question, why does corruption and lack of ethics thrive in our community? I'll give you several suggestions according to my understanding of the scriptures. Number one, and I've heard it in many places, the argument is everybody is doing it. Everybody is doing it syndrome. And it sounds like I don't know to do wrong. But everybody is doing wrong. Why not copy them? Please understand, you are not Mr. Everybody. And at the judgment seat of Christ, God will not judge everybody. One at a time. Says every knee, not some knees, but every knee will bow. Every tongue will confess. So this thing of everybody is doing it can really destroy. Do you know this thing has become so serious that even immorality is becoming rampant because everybody is doing it. In fact, these days, whereas before, if a girl got pregnant, they started wondering what's wrong with you. These days, if you are 25 and you have never had sex, then the girl says, what is that food? Are you biologically okay? Now they start even doubting whether you are okay. In other words, it's now normal to be immoral, abnormal to be moral. Am I communicating? They have gotten to a level where evil has become so standard. Not to have evil is abnormal. People even laugh at you for being normal. Abnormality is now normal. So once you grow up in a society like that, you think not to have integrity is normal. It becomes very difficult also not to have lack of integrity. Every time people give me this argument, I remind them of a place called Sodom and Gomorrah. That place was so immoral, they even got tired of girls sleeping with boys. Boys started sleeping with one another. That's why when men sleep with other men, it's called Sodom. Because they are copying Sodom. But can you imagine in a society of such level of immorality? There was Lot had, I think, 2 girls who were virgins. Go and check it in the Bible. How had they grown in such an immoral place and yet they remained virgins? So never tell me, oh, brother, I wish you know I live in Sodom. Yeah, even those 2 girls also lived in Sodom. But they kept their way. The fact that all your cousins are getting babies out of wedlock doesn't mean you also copy them. I agree your clan is Sodom, but remember, even in Sodom, there were 2 virgin girls. Am I communicating? So this is a real serious matter, that a lot of lack of ethics does not come from not knowing it is wrong. It's coming out of believing it's impossible to do the right thing. What can you do? I'm a boy. So what? Oh, I'm a boy and I'm 20. What can I do? I can't help it. I'm a boy, but these girls come, dresses too high from below, too low from above. What am I to do? Talk to the girls. No. The girls will go to judgment on their own, isn't it? Every day, not just boys, it is. So talk about yourself. Are we together? And really, if you're immoral, don't say everybody is immoral. There are some 2 girls in Sodom who are still virgins. So and I'm not playing down on it. It's a serious matter. Because when you stay in a place where people are doing things a certain way, to do it differently, they will even get you fired. Because they are tired of it. Because it's so normal to do the wrong thing that if you do the right thing, you're a bad guy. We must find a way of getting you out. And there's a possibility they may even kill you. So some people, anyway, I'll come to that in a little while. But I'm talking about the idea of everybody else doing it. Therefore, you start lacking integrity because after all, it will be normal. corruption has become so normal, brother, that you will find a man who just got employed the other day in a government job and know their salaries are public. We see them in the newspaper. And within 2 years, he comes and builds a big house in Nyeri. And the bishop will come to open it with the prayers. Why? You can see clearly, of course, he must have gotten money in trade ways. But the bishop is not bothered. Basically, we admire. How? The son of so and so, he's only 2 years out of campus. Look at what's wrong with you people. He knows why you're not being lives like him. Even your own parents are putting pressure on you. You get to the level where your parents are telling you, even if you can't get a boy to marry, at least bring me a grandchild. And it's your own mother, and she belongs to the church. But say now you can see, because every time he says, they are not good boys, don't worry, just give me a grandchild. I'm getting my point. It's not that I don't understand. I see the pressure. What makes me, I've been born again for more than 55 years. What makes me stand in such a pressure? 3 things. Number 1, I believe God who created me knows me better than anybody else. Are we together? Number 2, I believe God loves me so much that is interested in whatever I need to do. Number 3, I believe God has all the resources I need. Otherwise, isn't that what you say in Philippians chapter 4, verse 19? My God shall supply all your needs. Not according to my bank account, according to his riches in glory. Now, once you believe that, I can be penniless. I can see I'm not paying my children's school fees. But I know I don't have the money. But God has it. Number 1, he's one who created me. Number 2, he loves me. Number 3, he never runs out of. Your parents, they love you. But you'll still be thrown out of school. Why? Because they don't have resources. Does God ever lack resources? Those 3 things help me to stand my ground. I'll stand my ground when they are threatening to get me fired because of studying for ethics. Then I'll get rid of him. I agree. Get rid of me. But I know God, who owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. He can always get resources. It's the same. When you believe in those 3 things, my sister, every boyfriend drops you like out potato. One picks you, then drops you. Another picks you and drops you until they have become expert in tropology. But the question is, God manufactures husbands. It's in his factory. So even if they never drop you, when it is time to marry, not your time, but his time, he will manufacture one. Or do you expect to run out? I'm not communicating. Yeah. So, and I've now realized it's not just one side. A boy was telling me about how now it is girls pushing. How you call yourself a man? If you love me, how come you are doing? You can't be normal. If you are normal, I'll never marry you. Do something you want me to marry you. If you do it, you are dropped. Girls are dropping boys because they are not doing what they believe is normal. Because they are calling good boys are being called abnormal. My brother, let them keep dropping you. Let all the girls drop you. Why? He created you and created women. He loves you and he has enough supplies of women when you need one. Am I communicating? Yes. That way, you are able to stand your ground. The Englishman says that dead fish flow with the current. Ever heard of that? What that means is that if this is a river, if you see a fish going upwards, it cannot be dead. It must be alive. But if you see a fish going downwards, you are not aware that it's dead or alive. If you have the Spirit of God, you are alive. You can swim against the current. The whole class is going in one direction, and you are going against it. That tells you you are a living fish. All girls can dress in a certain way. If you are the only one dressing what to regard as the right way. And they all are laughing at you. How can we understand it? You are a living fish, swimming against the current. Are we together? So on this first item of everybody is doing it, it is really eating into people's ability to stand their ground. Because after all, everybody is. You are not Mr. Everybody. You are a special child of God. When He created you, He created you uniquely. When He called you to be a Christian, He called you uniquely. And anyway, I like a story I was told, which is true. When people come and say, what difference did it make? Even if you don't steal, others are stealing. What is the difference? What difference does it make? You see, there was this boy at the seashore. There just had been a hurricane wind that removed fish from the sea and they threw them onto dry ground. And they were in thousands and died. After the rain, the boy came to the seashore to see so many fish. And the young man, just a 9-year-old, started picking each fish and throwing it into the sea. Another one into the sea. An old man came and said, young man, what are you doing? Saving the fish. He says, can't you see they're in thousands? They'll die anyway. Can't you see they're already starting to die? And on a second thought, he said, yeah, the old man is right. I'm used to doing a useless job. Then another thought came. He took one fish and threw it back to the sea and told the old man, they are going to die, and not this one. Am I communicating? So this idea of being told, it will make no difference. It will not make difference on everybody. It will make difference on one. And you don't worry whether it will make difference on others. As long as you make the difference in one. And anyway, if truth be told, a lot of corruption issues are cartels. A line of people have to sign. If one of them stops, will that deal work? No. You may be the one person that will stop Kenya from losing money. One person. Of course, they will try to kill you. But you believe in a God who loves you, isn't it? Is He capable of protecting you? Yeah. So, I think it's important to ask yourself, are you under pressure to do what others are doing? And don't start thinking that it will stop. Even at my age, I'm in my 70s. There are still things people are doing in their 70s. And the devil says, you are the only one not doing it. And then I remember, I'm not Mr. Everybody. My name is John Ghana. And my name is in the books of life. Lamb's Book of Life. Are we together? So it's important to not agree to go under that theme of everybody is doing it. Second problem. Remember, I'm answering the question, why does corruption and lack of ethics thrive in our community? The second reason is fear. Fear. Fear is the opposite of faith. I've just been talking about having faith in God, in His love. The moment you have fear, if I don't do this, what will happen to me? If I say no to this boy, I will never get another boy. I'll be single for life. How will I be in old age? Although you're only 25, you're worried about what you'll be in 70s. They say, okay, I don't want it, but if you insist, don't leave me. My friend, you will join him. As he goes to hell, there will be now two. Are we together? Fear can make you do many. And many people who do wrong things is because of fear. Not faith, but fear. And that's why many bosses will intimidate you. I'm going to Nevada this weekend. If you don't go with me, don't bother reporting next week. I'll fire you. If you fire me, what do my children need? If you fire me, what happens to... No, I'm coming. I don't agree with it. I'm a Christian, but I'm coming. What's making you go? Fear. There are three boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They are told, the king had decreed, everybody must worship a statue of the king, an idol. They say they can't. God doesn't allow us. Our integrity does not allow us. Hey, it's reported immediately to the king. I'm sure you know the story, isn't it? They reported to the king. And the king says, wait, young man, what's wrong with you? Just go, and this matter will be over. Say, King, let's be clear. We shall not worship your statue. Why? Our God is able to rescue us from your fire. But if he chooses not to rescue us, we will still not worship. We are ready to go into the fire. The king was so annoyed. He made the thing to be heated how many times? 7 times hotter. And by the time they are trying to throw away the three boys to the fire, the people doing it all died. Have you read that? Then they are thrown in the fire. Only for the king to look. And they say, didn't we throw 3 men? How many are there now? 4. By the time they came out, they were not even smelling fire. For sure, the Lord, instead of the Lord protecting them from being thrown in the fire, he did a bigger miracle. He rescued them from the fire. Are we together? Yeah. So, maybe the Lord will allow you to be fired. But you'll be jobless and eating. Isn't that a bigger miracle? So, you need to understand fear and integrity are not relatives. You can't have fear and have integrity at the same time. Integrity gives you the trust in God that causes you to be ready to face anything, including death. So you cannot be intimidated because you know very well that even if you, and that has happened to me at work before I retired. You do not fire me. Yeah, go right ahead. Where I come from, I know God is able to look after us. But finally, I never got fired. I worked until retirement. But when you annoy people, they think they can threaten you with firing you. But from the moment I got employed, I knew this God's way of providing for my children. In other words, this is not where my source is. My source is in God. Only He's using this one. If He stops using this one, you have another source. The important thing is that He still is in charge, isn't it? So like being fired from one job, does that stop God from having resources? He will still provide. And it's important to ask yourself, why are you allowing yourself to be intimidated? Is that you don't believe in God? To start imagining, what will happen to me? Intimidation. Fear. And the other synonyms of the sins that I've written here. Helplessness. Nitadu. Why are you helpless? You know the children of Israel have come from they have run away from Egypt, but the Lord has guided them to a corner where the Red Sea is ahead of them. The soldiers of Pharaoh are coming, and they started saying, "Sure, were there no graves? How come? Why did you want us to die here in the desert?" Because in their own mind, they thought they are cornered. They forgot they have a God without a corner. You are cornered, but God is not cornered. Because when I was working, I used to cover Sudan. So I remember going on duty to Port Sudan on the Red Sea. That's when I realized it's not a river. You can't see across. And you can see the intimidation. But they forgot God cannot be cornered. What happened? They walked on dry ground. Across the Red Sea. And it must be many kilometers. We walked throughout the night. Are you understanding that God cannot be cornered? You can be cornered, but God cannot be cornered. So even in a tight spot, stick with the truth. Have integrity. Then wait to see how God will deal with the corners. Am I communicating? Yeah. So there will be never an excuse to lack integrity when you have a trust in a God who cannot be cornered. And it's very, very important to ask yourself, is that something you believe in, or is it not? And I think it will be important for you to ask yourself. So that sense of helplessness cannot be somebody who is having God as his resource, or fear of the boss, or fear of losing your job. The worst of them is fear of death. Fear of death. Let me be clear. I don't think you can really have integrity until you are ready to die for it. I've had somebody come to my office and tell me clearly, you handle my contract like that? You know, first they try to bribe me, then you don't accept the bribe. Finally, they threaten you with getting fired, then you don't get fired. Finally, they come to where they tell you. You still remember, this was what you put. He told me, here, pity, get your children cannot eat when mine are not. And I told him, I know. Since I was dealing with petroleum tankers, all you need to ask one of your drivers, when they notice my car, just turn the tanker a little, and I hit it. And I'll be dead. And maybe you just call it an accident. Now, but where you come from, I asked the old man, where you come from, have you heard of people today they are saved? He said, no. He was very happy with me. If you have heard of them, they normally say they want to go to heaven. And the earlier, the guy went out of my house. There's no way you can keep the integrity until you are ready to die. After all, according to the Bible, when you die, you go to a better. So why don't you want to go there? Either you don't believe God, you don't believe God's word is true. If you know it is true, you cannot fail to follow you cannot fail to follow the truth, to follow integrity because of fearing dying. After all, dying is going home. And heaven is your home. That's why I keep saying, this country, the solution lies in church, Christians. But not the Christians who are frightened by dying. Christians who know Christ died for us, became the first fruit from the dead. And that tells us, even if we die, we go to heaven. Am I communicating? So, don't let fear interfere with your trust in God. Interfere with your integrity. Why did you do it? What could I have done? Who you moved to? He could have done something that would destroy me. That's why I did it. No. Not when God is on your side. Those are two things I've covered. Everybody doing etc. The other one is fear. Those two are major causes of people lacking integrity, even in church. Sometimes you just hear the bishop tells you something. What he's telling you is not Christian, but you feel, I don't want to be thrown out of church. So you actually do the wrong thing. After all, I was told. No. Before the judgment seat of Christ, you'll not be able to say you are told. You take responsibility for your own actions. Are we together? And I think it will be very, very important. The next one is materialism. I'm looking at things that cause us to have corruption thriving in our communities. What is materialism? It is getting your value in things. People value things and use, people who have no integrity. They value things and use people to get things. If you have integrity, you value people and use things to benefit people. Am I communicating? Are you getting the difference? That truly if you have integrity, you know you are created in the image of God, your friend is created in the image of God, so you never use things to manipulate people because you value people. Materialism is starting to see things as what you are created to be. It's my view says that you can always tell where somebody will finally end if they define for you what success is. Your definition of success tells you where you are going. If you believe success is having $1 million shillings, since nobody wants to be a failure, you will do anything and everything. You don't have to get $1 million shillings. That's materialism. The moment you feel you are defined by what you have. Some are defined by the car they drive. So somebody will drive a Mercedes which he cannot afford to impress people who don't even care. Did you hear what I said? Yeah. Maybe for you it's not a Mercedes, a dress. You are buying a dress when you have not enough money, you are taking a loan to impress people who don't even look at it. Is that clever? Is that clever? No, that's materialism. And materialism has nothing to do with the rich people. Even poor people are materialistic. Because materialism is thinking that if only I had more money, I would be happier. Because you think your happiness is tied up to what you own. In fact, somebody said, and I agree with them, sometimes you can tell whether your husband is materialistic or not. You know the salary comes at the end of the month. So watch him around 25th. And when he comes home, you can always tell there's nothing in the bank. Wait until fast and he comes home rejoicing, singing, money is in the account. Now, that means his joy is tied up to his bank account. That is what materialism is. And if you are materialistic, integrity will go through the window. Do you define yourself in terms of grades? That if you are number one in class, you are therefore better than people who are number last. No, you are not. Maybe God has given you a higher IQ than others. But there is something else He has given others which you don't have. Am I right? Yes. So you do not look people by their number in class. You don't look at the people by how long their nose is. Too long. What's wrong with your nose? Now, I did not participate in creating it. You have to accept me the way and you can't blame me for a nose, which I never participated in creating. These are people who look down on themselves. Oh God, why did you make me so ugly? Because they are materialistic. They see themselves by how they look. The moment you are, and that's what you mean by materialism. People think it's only getting rich. Anytime your definition of success has to do with what you get, what you have, and some of them is money, others is power. That's what people go into politics for power. You feel more important because you have more power. That is all we are calling materialism. And it will be very important to understand clearly there will be no integrity. For example, if you start getting an A so critical and not getting it to finish it, so you've got to see what the teacher is showing you. Do you agree with me? But if you don't believe that getting a B will kill you, all that will happen is that you might not go to do law. You're going to do something else. And that may be what God wants you to do. So you'll do your very best, but you leave the results to God. You will do your business very well, but you leave the results to God. Because you know it does not define you. It does not determine who you are. The moment you are materialistic, let's come out clear, you will not have integrity. Many corrupt people are not corrupt because they are poor. They are corrupt because they want more. Would you agree with me? Some are already so rich, they are still stealing more. And the more you have, the bigger the debt. Would you agree with me? But it has nothing to do with them, even right at the beginning. That's why you are sent by your mother to buy something, then you do some arithmetic and buy something of less value to leave yourself with a balance. Why? What can I do without money? Money in Fujamirima. I've heard people talk about that. You think like money defines life. It doesn't. There are many happy people who have no money. And there are many unhappy people who have money. The moment money does not drive you, you will see yourself living a life of integrity. Because you don't feel desperate. The moment you define yourself the way God defines you, you will never bow before a boy because you think nobody even looks my way. So you start dressing badly so that boys can look at you. No. You know God values you exactly as you are, assuming you are. But God values you. And that's what matters to you. That God values you. So if they look at you, don't look at you, shall we have? Why? If the manufacturing factory of God is you manufacturing a husband. And when it is time, you just see look your direction. Am I communicating? So you don't become desperate in your dressing, in your spending of money, you not to win anybody. You know God will bring you somebody as long as you are acting responsibly the way God would want you to act. Materialism is a whole subject we can discuss, and again I've written quite a bit of it in my book on integrity. It will destroy you until you come to where you find your value in the way God looks at you. And God is happy with you. Rich or poor, God is happy with you. That's what will make you happy. Are we together? That your joy comes of knowing that God loves you. Your joy comes of knowing that God is your supplier. Your joy comes of knowing God created you for a purpose and you will fulfill it. The moment you feel, yeah, God is happy with me, that's all that matters. We are too busy wanting to get accolades from people. Rather about this story of this guy, young man, who by the age of 9, he could play the piano so well, he would fill up a theater in London with the people wanting to hear him play the piano. One day, he filled London Hall, and they came with their friends and relatives. And he played the first song. The people could not be there, and he got what is called a standing ovation. But he was seated there on the piano, looking not too happy. He played the second one. Saying, by breaking, what they call them interludes, by break time, his friends ran to him during the break. He said, what's wrong with you? Everybody is so excited with you, and you're looking unhappy. Don't you see what well you are doing? He said, wait a minute. Do you see that old man far at the back? Yes, that's my trainer. My eyes are on him. And from the reaction on his face, I know he thinks I should have played better. But you people, after all, you don't know music. You keep clapping. How can I get excited when people who don't know get excited? I'm watching my trainer. My eyes are on man. What gives you contentment is putting your eyes on God. It doesn't matter what your parents say. Doesn't matter what your uncle says. Doesn't matter what your bosses say. If the Lord is happy with you, you should sleep like a child. That way, you'll never get to a level where you feel you must break rules. And your argument is that you are defining your life badly. That's why you are ending up with all kinds of debts. Because you don't want to live within your means. After all, you live within your means, you feel valueless. My friend, let's be clear. Whether you eat Weetabix or porridge in the morning, both are starch. You agree with me? You are still healthy. But if you eat the Weetabix, it will cost you a lot of money, isn't it? If you eat bread, it's a little less, isn't it? You have no money. Just go buy a gunia, a debe of maize, go to Karakara, turn it into unga, every day eat porridge. And you'll still be healthy. Are we together? And when you are walking, it will not matter. Remember, the cells do not go for Weetabix. Once the stomach has worked on it, what do the cells take? It's called starch. Are we together? And the cells will not tell whether the starch came from Weetabix, or came from porridge, or came from bread. All the after is starch. So why are you bothered that you did not eat Weetabix? That's what you are meaning by materialism. It doesn't make sense. Because anybody who has done science knows that whether you pay a lot of money or less. For example, you have no money for chicken and meat. Just buy a debe of, what is it called, beans. We are told it's protein, isn't it? So every day, eat some beans. Do you have protein? Yes. So why you bother? You'll be a healthy person, although you can't buy any meat. Now, it is that materialistic sense that makes you make foolish decisions, that put you into debt. And because of the debt, you end up living a life that is weak. And remember, if you read my book, you'll see when I was talking about debt, various debts, some people steal credit. What is steal credit? I give you money to pay me next week. I give you 1,000 to pay me next week. Next week you start running away, money. I see you, you run away from me. 1 week I can't find you. 2 weeks, you find it. Then you ask me, brother, I'm sure. You find me just for 1,000. If it's so little, how come you're not giving me? Give it back to me. Okay, I have it. But when you tell me my 1,000, and I've lost credit, isn't it? If I put in a bank account, I would have gotten money. So what are you? A thief of credit. You never stole my money, but you stole my credit. So all people, you are seated here, and there's a debt you have not paid. You are a thief. The truth is, the owner wanted the money earlier, you haven't given him. You intend to pay him, but you'll pay him after stealing credit. And I was starting to ask him, what do I do? Simple. Call him this afternoon and say, I've just discovered I'm a thief. Your money is there to return. But I should have returned 3 weeks ago and I have not returned. I'm now in your jail. Can you forgive me for keeping your money and give me 2 more weeks. The money say, it's okay. If you see, will you run away again? No, because it's in banking terms, it's called rescheduling the loan. Rescheduling means the bank is no longer after you. It has given you an extended period. Are we together? And that's the same thing you do with the people. If you're a man of integrity, if I lend you money, you are my prisoner. If you want to come out of my prison, come back and exchange with the money. I promise money at the end of. And don't come after, come before. I promise you at the end of April. April is next week. I now know I'll not be able to pay. I'm coming to you. Surely I know you demand the money, need the money. I beg you, please give me another money. If I say yes, in the month of May, go visit your friends, isn't it? But you can't stay with my money and you are evading me on your way to heaven. The very fact that you're evading me tells you where you're going. Where are you going? To hell. To hell. If you're running away because you have no integrity. A man of integrity admits when they are wrong and then seeks forgiveness. Are we together? So the fact that you're not even admitting you're running around just tells you clearly you have no integrity. Anyway, I hope I start showing you how. Remember, I'm still answering the question. Why are we having a community that has no integrity? I've told you the first thing was. What was the first thing? Everybody is doing the same. The second one? Fear. The third one? Terrorism. In the afternoon, we'll try to go a little further, and I'm hoping God will give me time. I also want to go through Psalm 15 just to see how God defines integrity in His Word, because I think that is what will help. It's actually 12:30. I promised to stop at 12:30. Let me hand over the meeting back.